All right. I am delighted to welcome you and everyone to our today's webinar. And today we are discussing developing and maintaining competencies needed for workplace success. Again, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming to participate in today's workshop. My name is Alima, and I'm running this webinar out of my Tokyo office. I'm the Director of Asia and Pacific Operations here at Peregrine Global Services, and I have just moved to Tokyo last summer after having worked in our Washington, D.C. office for almost a decade. So today's webinar is brought to you by Peregrine Global Services and AMBA, Association of MBAs. Peregrine works in close cooperation with AMBA to help provide member schools with resources and services to enhance the quality of business programs around the world. So this is an interactive webinar, somewhat interactive, not fully, but I do want to, and I do encourage you to participate in a number of ways. I'll have a few poll questions, so please answer them. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand or to type your question in the question pane. And if we don't get, I'll also plan to leave a good 10 to 15 minutes at the end for Q&A, so you can ask your questions during that time. Also, please feel free to email me with your questions. So in today's presentation, I'll be starting out with the why leadership conversation, right? And then we will discuss some solutions to developing leadership skills and competencies in our learners. And I will bring a couple examples of how our leading edge learning modules could be used to achieve those goals. Hey, here's our first poll question. So let me launch it. So launch polling. So here, I would like to find out where you are currently within your leadership journey. So if you are in charge of a program, please think about your program in answering this question. If you are in charge of students, think about how you plan to develop these leadership qualities in your students. And if you're here for your personal development purposes, be it a student or faculty or an administrator, answer this question from your perspective. So please share and let me know, where are you? So do you need to develop or improve a leadership program for your students? Do you need to create, improve a staff or faculty leadership development program? Or a lot of the times, our employers are more and more requiring that we graduate students who have honed these leadership skills and competencies. If that's the case, please let us know in the polling. And then if you're here for your personal development purposes, also let me know. So I'd like to make sure that I get all the responses that I need from you. And so far, a lot of you are here for personal developmental purposes, which is great, which is wonderful. So that helps me to shape the discussion, understanding where you are. And I do see a number of you who are in need of creating or improving staff faculty leadership development programs, as well as meeting the employer's needs to graduate students who have attained these leadership skills and competencies. So I'd like to end the polling here. Thank you for answering the question. So this is the results you can see, and overwhelmingly you are here to learn more about leadership skills and development for your personal needs, which is wonderful. All right. So good leadership is critically important within today's dynamic and diverse workplaces. These important soft skills enable both teams and individuals to reach their potential. Now, Peregrine Leadership Institute, we have at Peregrine Global Services, our different branches, right? So there's Peregrine Leadership Institute, Peregrine Academic Services, Peregrine Pathways, and Peregrine Foundation. And within the Leadership Institute, we have been offering leadership development programs for the last couple decades. And this particular online leadership development program is flexible, it is affordable, and appropriate for not only businesses, corporations, nonprofit groups, or governmental agencies, but we also have geared it towards being applicable in higher education because we are, a big part is higher education, of course. So then let's look at why does leadership matter, right? If you think about your past experience, and if you think about different organizations that you have worked and currently working, consider a bad, poor leader with whom you have worked, right? What impact did that poor, bad leadership have on you and on your organization? So think about it, right? Now, think about the opposite. When you have worked with a good, effective leader, and how did it make you feel? And how did your organization function as a result of that effective leadership? So then a Gallup organizational study time after time have found out that the number one reason why people thrive at work is their boss. It is also the number one reason why employees quit. And here's the result of that, right? So when people were polled as to why they changed jobs, 75% responded that they left voluntarily their jobs because of their bosses and not because of the position or the pay or the challenge of the work. So people don't quit jobs, they actually quit bosses. So as we all know, leadership clearly matters, right? It is the most important reason why people thrive at work, and it is the number one reason why people leave an organization. So our online leadership modules help students, as well as staff and faculty, improve their leadership skills and competencies. Now, the instructional content for each course was developed by Peregrine Leadership Institute based on the organization's workshops, seminars, and team development sessions. So for over 15 years easily, Peregrine has been conducting applied leadership seminars and workshops for hundreds of organizations, not only based in the US, but also outside of the US and all throughout the world. So in terms of leadership, enabling individuals to reach their full potential, right? If you think about it, if you did not have effective leadership, you cannot have a successful team or a department or business unit or an organization, right? And then if you really wanted to grow and innovate and to really, have an amazing organization and team, effective leadership is essential. So now leadership is about inspiring and motivating people to work together towards a common goal. And effective leadership is critically important within today's dynamic and diverse workplaces. Leadership effectiveness enables both teams and individuals to reach their potential, as we've been discussing. And now, as higher education professionals or educators, we see that employers more and more expect us to develop leadership competencies within our learners and graduates. So you're probably quite familiar with Admiral Grace Murray Hopper. She was an American computer scientist and the United States Navy Admiral. And she was one of the first programmers of the Harvard Mark I computer. And she was a pioneer of computer programming who invented one of those first linkers, right? And then she famously said that you manage things, but you lead people. So we all know and have read about many great leaders, right? And great leadership is not reserved for the great leaders only. Leader and title are not mutually inclusive. But with or without a title, every person is a leader in a certain setting. So leadership starts with people, clearly, right? And our students are leaders. And we as educators are expected to help them develop those leadership competencies so that they can be more successful out there in the world, so they can get employment. And most importantly, they can sustain that employment and become successful in their careers. And also, I'd like to discuss how self-reflection and self-awareness are fundamental in developing leadership competencies, right? Self-perception needs to be as close to other people's perception of you as possible. So as such, feedback is essential in developing leadership skills and competencies, and also in great leadership overall. So one of the solutions we offer has to do with collecting feedback and evaluating soft skills. We do it by using our Evalu Skills online assessment tool, which utilizes feedback of peers, colleagues, supervisors, and people you have worked with or under or above you, and collect feedback, right? And we have talked about value skills in detail at our last webinar with AMBA. And if you want to learn more, I do have a link to the video recording of this webinar. We'd be happy to share it with you. So being able to measure soft skills, right, helps you to set targets, helps you to identify areas of strengths and weaknesses, and helps you to improve them, to develop them. So if you wanted to learn more about it, of course, please do let me know. So, with the National Association of Colleges and Employers, right, this is an organization that forms a bridge between higher education institutions and human resource professionals. It is based out of the US, and through this interactive process involving both higher education and HR recruiting staff at more than 600 employers, NACE has identified 8 competencies that represent what career service professionals should be helping their students achieve and what employers are broadly looking for in their ideal candidates. So as you can see, those 8 competencies encompass critical thinking and problem solving. Communications is essential, both in oral and written formats. And then teamwork and collaboration, which I think in higher education we do pretty well. Of course, digital fluency is essential in this day and age, and information technology application. Leadership, that's what we're here to talk about today. And then also professionalism and work ethic, right? And ability to manage self, are hallmarks of a good employee. And then along with that comes a lifelong know-how and skills and behaviors toward managing oneself's, I guess, career successfully. And then, of course, and especially in this day and age, global and intercultural fluency are essential to thrive in a diverse global economy and organization. So here, I would like to start a second poll. If you could answer the question, I'm launching the poll. So here, please do let me know which of the skills, which of the competencies do you feel you need to develop, improve in your students, in your staff, in your faculty? And if you are representing yourself today, you want to accomplish personal developmental goals, then please speak from your experience. And I see you are answering this question. And so far it's, pretty well spread out. And I want to make sure that I get as many responses as I can get. So far, pretty well evenly split between communications, career management, and next coming emotional intelligence, and of course, leadership. So at this point, I would like to end the polling. I know we could have gotten, and I would like to share the results with you. So in the last minute, numbers kind of switched around a little, but it's pretty typical. Communications is a big challenge, right? It's a very complicated, it's a very multi-layered kind of process, including multimedia approaches. And then next comes career management. We all need assistance and more abilities and capabilities to tackle that, coming with emotional intelligence and career management coming next. Well, thank you for responding to this second poll question. So then now I'm going to introduce you to a solution brought to you as a result of our cooperation between Peregrine and AMBA, right, Association of MBAs. If you go to the AMBA website, you will see that Peregrine modules are listed as a resource to you. So please go check it out and come talk to us about how you can benefit from those. But I'll be, going over and giving you some highlights of what we offer there. So now that solution is our leading edge learning online courses or modules to help you develop skills and competencies related to workplace readiness or leadership. So what is the leading edge learn, right? So these are modules we developed by Peregrine to provide you support for really, creating and developing these competencies in those 8 different areas that I shared with you based on NACE. And then these are online competency-based modules that could be mixed and matched to support your particular developmental needs, right? To support your particular needs for improving workplace readiness skills and competencies in your learners or in yourself. So here's a full list of our leadership, these online modules. And we offer these resources to both measure and build those skills. And we'll provide these platforms to gather and apply knowledge, and also the test the performance through the 360-degree evaluation that I've mentioned, which we call Evalu Skills. So as I mentioned, currently we have made available via the AMBA website a selection of modules we believe will enable you to enhance and develop your skills and competencies of leadership. The first group are in the area of leadership, right? So effective leadership, as we've discussed, is vital to the success of a team, department, business unit, or the entire organization. So training in leadership skills is appropriate for all levels in the organization. As I mentioned, not merely those in leadership roles. So if you're a manager starting out, you still have to practice leadership skills for your own work and activities, right? Your leadership with others and within and outside of your organization. So you also need to be able to kind of grow and develop yourself for greater responsibilities. And if you are an entrepreneur, it is critical to have well-developed leadership skills in order to succeed in your business. Now, the second area in workplace skills is related to managing conflict, right? Emotional intelligence. Now, it's very important to know how to hire the right people. What are the tools and best practices in selecting the right people, right, to join your team? And then we also saw from our poll responses that communications is a #1 concern. So being able to speak and present properly and being able to communicate in a written form effectively, clearly, and concisely are also essential pieces. So we do have modules relating to all these areas available to you, either through AMBA website or through Peregrine's own website. So what should you expect from these modules? There will be a variety of tools used to make these learning modules engaging. And then they offer you a self-paced approach to learning. So you can take these courses and these modules whenever you have some free time, whenever you are able to be most effective learner. So some days you have more time and others less. We all understand that. So when you want to take a course, if it's too constraining with regard to place and time, of course, online self-paced modules are most ideal. You can navigate around the module, complete and return to sections, and you can use the module as a valuable resource for you and for your learners up to 2 years. So often when you're done with a typical online course, you do not have continuous access to that course. So you digest information material at different rates, and depending when and where you are with your readiness to absorb that information. So if you have learned a certain content and then after having practiced it your workplace or within your learner community, what have you, you wanted to refresh, you wanted to review, you wanted to kind of revisit it, then the module is available to you. I just want to make sure if anyone has any questions, again, feel free to type them in the question pane. So all the modules are organized into logical sections, right? With reviews and quiz questions offered at the end of each section. And then we offer you a variety of activities, multimedia and experiential kind of learning component, learning on your own, and just refreshing and different techniques to help you really reinforce your learning process. So the modules vary in terms of ranges in size and topics to really help you to choose what is most suitable to your particular needs, to your students' particular needs, right? So we have modules that may take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, which could be just supplemental primer to introducing your learners into what leadership styles are, what different stages of team development and so forth, and going into more substantive content areas that some of those cover 40 to 50 hours of engagement, really depending on the topic. So we are all about offering you flexible solutions, right? To offer you solutions that meet your particular needs at that particular time. So true to our calling, we do offer you flexible solutions. So here's a career management solution that we provide you, right? We have a module and it provides learners with the knowledge required to get the job, keep it, and progress successfully throughout the course of their career. So a lot of the times getting the job is half of the battle, right? Most importantly, to keep the job and to be more successful at that job is what is the challenge for most people lay. In terms of this organizational development, we have these modules that cover a wide range of leadership topics, including leading organizations, right? Nonprofit board governance, succession planning, and hiring. And these modules help organizations to build their capacity to change and achieve greater effectiveness by developing, improving, and reinforcing strategies, structures, and processes. So if that's where you are headed, if that's what the need is to teach your learners, if it's an executive MBA program or an MBA program, or if you are moving up the ladder to a higher management, then this could be very helpful for you. Now we do have, again, solutions for supervisor and management training. And these include supervision and leadership foundations for anyone who's moving into a role of sort of that early role of leadership, right? Managing and supervising others so they can really acquire the knowledge that they need to build in order to become great supervisors. And then a lot of the times, and if you have attended our experiential learning webinar, we have talked about soft skills and how really gaining interpersonal skills are important to become successful in one's career, right? And a lot of the times the technical skills um, contribute 25% to the success of your career. And 75% is going to be now based on your soft skills, interpersonal skills, and ability to communicate effectively. And one of them, of course, is emotional intelligence. So we have partnered with our colleagues out in Poland, and providing you this emotional intelligence module. And this incorporates different human emotions into workplace that'll help team members to collaborate better. And then once you have a better team, you're going to have a more coherent and more effective workplace where your employers have a supportive and a happier environment. So we do have, we have developed these 4 distinct modules that provide learners with the knowledge and skills required to develop emotional intelligence. So this is our, newest and latest, very exciting modules that are interactive, multimedia, and I welcome you to come and check it out. As I mentioned, you can find all of these modules at the AMBA website, as well as at our Peregrine Global Services website. Somehow my computer is doing something really strange. Okay. Oh, so this is AMBA website, and we can explore it together, but I'm sure you will be able to check it out on your own. But as I mentioned with AMBA, we are great partners. And let's see from current slide. And if I share this, well, my apologies for this. Okay. All right. So as you see from the AMBA website, we have all of the slides that we have discussed available there. And so feel free to check it out. And let's see if I can try to share my screen again. Share screening. Okay, let me know if you see my presentation. Oh, I kind of started from the beginning. All right, so let me get to a point. Oh, same issue. Oh, because I'm going straight to the website. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, guys. If you have your questions, feel free to type them here as I solve this issue. And okay, so I wanted to talk now about the best practices. So in terms of where and how you can incorporate these learning modules into your program or into your personal experience. Okay, good. So that resolved. Let me check if you have any questions in the chat box. Oh, thank you, Dr. Sridhar, Hindustan University, Chennai, welcome. Yes, you see it. Thank you for that feedback, Robert. Okay, so just make sure you have the right screen. Okay, so in terms of how you can, some of you mentioned that you already have leadership development programs for your learners, right? And then, so this would be a great place to kind of use this resource as an additional supplemental material, or sometimes you want to use it for leveling, right? And a lot of the times academic leveling is conducted within your initial courses of the program, especially if you're working with MBA students. And then you are able to sort of offer these leveling to your learners. But as you can see, these are great resources for professional development opportunities for the high potential individuals, be it for your organization or be it as your graduating seniors. And if you have a special leadership program, these are great tools for you to bring content that is, again, depending on your need, could be in-depth, could be a primer, could be more of a refresher versus more in-depth sort of resource. And then if you wanted to fill in your curriculum gaps within courses on leadership, again, these are great resources. If you have a career readiness center, if you have a place where you prepare your graduates for the real world, launch, um, a lot of these, online courses and modules are perfect for them to get a refresher, to get an introduction, or to get an overview of what is expected or what would be essential for a successful transition to careers. So especially if you have executive education program, these would be really well aligned. And then we have more and more higher educational institutions incorporating career readiness into their curriculum. So that would be also another perfect place to offer or to just make these available to your learners. All right. So I wanted to actually provide a couple samples of, the different leadership modules we have, and then we can start with this leadership foundations module. And a lot of the times, as I mentioned, we have before COVID, we have held many in-person leadership workshops and seminars, including a few in Mongolia, where we worked with the city, the capital government secretariat, and even the parliamentary secretariat as well there. So what we start with is usually to really from the fundamentals, right? So learners, start with the foundations of leadership being, be, know, and do. So first is what are the, attributes and characteristics of a good leader? So what do you consider as a good leader, right? So for your organization, for your students, depending on different industries, what are the foundational values? What are the attributes and the characters of a good leader? And then based on that, you develop the know-how, the understanding of the technical and the people skills. Your learners or your staff or yourself need to have in order to become that great leader you have defined to be, those great attributes, right? Those values, and then those characteristics. And then you can have the great passion, you can have the great knowledge, you can have the great definition of what great leader you want to be or your students to be. Without action, we're not going to get anywhere. So do is the part where we start applying what we know, what we learned, what we want in real life. So that's the exemplification of values and in our action. So within each leading edge learning modules, you are going to get a syllabus along with the learning outcomes. So in the case of the Leadership Foundations module, you can see it covers the following learning outcomes. We start with defining the leadership, and we go into the different models of values and attributes of leadership. And then what are the skills of leadership and how to lead others, how to maintain ethical standards, which is so vital and so important. Change is the most challenging aspect of any organization or of a person. Change leads to growth. And so leading that change is very challenging. So understanding how to lead that change is essential to being a good leader. And then, of course, if you don't measure, you're not able to identify what you need to improve. So performance management is essential part of foundations of leadership, and then how to grow other leaders, how to practice inspirational leadership and build an enduring leadership legacy are components of learning outcomes for this Leadership Foundations course. So another course, another online module, I should say, quite not a course. These are, much more. Oh, thank you. Thank you. There's a chat comment came in. So the next one I wanted to use as an example is a leading organizations program, right? And this also will help the learners to understand this transition from a senior manager to an organizational leader. So a lot of the times within, for example, higher education or in any educational institution, what happens is you take your best faculty, you take your best teacher, and then move that person into a leadership role. So, being the best teacher, teaching the best, reaching out to your students and, helping our learners to be their best is a totally different skill set than leading a team, leading a department, or being an administrator in an organization. So it's very important to help uh, to ensure that successful transition and provide with skills and knowledge and beef up the competencies that needed to become a successful leader at that stage. So also you will need to learn strategic leadership once you move up the ladder of the organization. Organizational planning is also essential. So then various responsibilities related to become a successful organizational leader are part of this program. And here's a sample of this 4-module program of the learning outcomes. So at the end of having completed this 4-module program, learners will be able to perform organizational leadership activities and have a full understanding of corporate governance procedures, be able to conduct strategic planning, and other areas to establish and maintain a customer focus. In the case of higher education, our customers are our students. So how do we better serve them is part of leading organizations as a higher educational institution. So how do you engage your workforce is also another essential area. And as I mentioned in the foundations course, being able to conduct organizational performance management activities are essential to successful organizational leadership. And then, ethics, being able to conduct and establish and maintain ethical culture, ethical procedures, ethical behavior is so essential in any organization, and especially in today's day and age. And then we are, especially in higher education and also in just business, in it for being able to continuously improve the quality of our activities, of our processes, of our procedures, right? We learn and we improve. That's our existence. So just want to make sure if any questions have been coming. So we also have a leadership refresher module, right? And challenges, of course, arise at any time. And to be an effective leader, you need to be able to respond to those challenges with intelligence, strategy, and expertise. So if you're having a difficulty responding to unanticipated challenges, or if you're simply interested in improving your leadership skills, perhaps it is time to further develop your leadership skills and actions. So this leadership refresher module is a perfect one for you to kind of brush up and to help you to move to the next level. And in this particular module, learners will refresh their knowledge of how to influence people, how to grow other leaders, how to lead a team, and also understand your personal values and the values of your organization in terms of how well do they match together. So the leadership refresher module has this nice long list of learning outcomes, and you're welcome to, of course, get a closer look at it. I'm not going to read this nice long list, but this is quite helpful as a refresher and as something that helps you to move along in your leadership journey. So as I mentioned in my announcement invitation for you to attend this webinar as a token of our appreciation for spending this time with us, we would like to offer you a free access to a couple modules, right? The first one is Speaking Pro by Roger Love, And Roger Love, if you Google him, and if you are familiar with any of the Hollywood movies, he has coached many of the greats of Hollywood in terms of voice, in terms of presentation, in terms of, so we have a couple courses. We are very happy to collaborate with Roger Love and be able to offer his courses through our Leading Edge Learning Modules platform. So that's a great tool. Please do write to me and let me know if you are interested in getting access to Roger Love. And then another one, as was indicated through the response to our poll, is communications, right? That's always the key and so vital and so important. So we're providing you also free access to our leadership communications leading edge learning module. So with that, I wanted to ask one more poll question. So in that, how can we help you, right? Oh, let me launch this poll. All right, so how can we help you? What do you need from us? Yeah, please let me know if you want to get that free access to Roger Love's Speaking Pro course. And also, please let me know if you would like to get access to that Leadership Communications Leading Edge Learning module, which will give you a really good introduction as to the layout, navigation, and the content, and then the multimedia sort of nature and different activities that go into our modules. And then if you wanted to receive more email communication with me with solutions to tackle either leadership, competency development, and sustainment, or if you wanted to learn more about the value skills, the soft skills assessment, developing and assessing, and incorporating it into your programs, or if you wanted to learn more about our assessment, as you're familiar, we are, in the business of helping you with improving the quality of your business programs. So we help you to conduct that through the use of our business assessment tools. Or if you just wanted to have a call or a presentation to your team members, or to have to continue this discussion further in terms of implementation in your program, please do let me know. All right, so I think I'll give you a couple more minutes to finish it up. Thank you for responding to this question. I don't need to share it. So this is your time to ask questions. As I mentioned, I did want to leave this time to be able to see if you had any questions, if you wanted to learn more, or just anything that's related to academic curriculum and gaps. I'll be happy to respond to your questions. So this is my email information. I can also provide you with a tutorial into leading edge learning modules. So I'd be more than happy to share that with you. So please reach out to us. And we do value our position as thought partners to your institution and to you on your personal journey. And we would love to have a conversation with you about your particular, or your students, your schools, challenges, and needs. So this comprehensive tutorial provide you with all the information you need to really fully understand the leading edge learning competency-based modules. So within each tutorial, as I see questions coming in, within each tutorial, you'll be able to find a lot of the information that we have discussed today, and also best practices for integrating content into your online courses, how these modules can aid in student engagement, and all of the details you need to share the benefits of these tools with your colleagues or your leadership. So if you wanted to gain access to these leading edge learning competency-based module tutorials, please do reach out to me. And here's my email address, jamyansuren@peregrineglobal.com. So let's see. So as, oh, there is a question. Okay. Does the module only cover leadership for employees in organization environments I'm curious as to if the module contents are applicable for self-development. Absolutely, these are applicable for self-development. Also, these are, initially these were developed for industry, right? For business organizations. We also have nonprofit organizations, governmental organizations we work with. So, you know, the core of these organizations is an individual. So you can definitely use it for self-development. And we also have a lot of these modules we have now as an higher education organization, reformatted and then repurposed it, and we, you know, tooled it for higher education purposes. So thank you for your question. Absolutely, yes, you can use it for self-development. And then feel free to share it with your students. You can go to our website and you can purchase it individually, or if you're part of a, of course, university, your university can pilot it. You know, we can always talk about how to best serve your needs, and then or purchase it, and we can make it available to you and work it into your program. So is it for free? Today, I'm offering for free as a token of appreciation for you to attending this webinar, the Speaking Pro and the Leadership Communications modules. So email to me and I'll be happy to give you an access to Speaking Pro and Leadership Communications for free. Okay, I answered that question. What other questions do you have? If you have any other questions related to, you know, how to develop your workplace readiness skills, right? Leadership competencies and what is important and how to hone it. And we have a whole host of best practices on experiential learning, on assisting and developing soft skills in your learners or in yourself. So check out our Peregrine Global Services YouTube channel. We have video recordings of our previous presentations. And of course, go check out our website. We have a wealth of information, white papers of case studies with our academic higher education institutional partners. And if you wanted to learn more about how other institutions are using our tools, there's a white paper on our business administration assessment, summative assessment, best practices. There's another one on how school out of Poland, executive MBA program used our value skills, the soft skills assessment in their executive MBA program, and then a number of other white papers you can find from our website. All right, so with that, I wanted to give one read through, make sure I'm not missing any questions. I'd like to thank you for coming and learn more about how to develop, how to sustain leadership skills in your learners, in yourself, in your faculty, and how to use Peregrine's leading edge learning modules and courses in your programs. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me, and I look forward to talking to you further and continuing discussion on your leadership journey.